Michigan Snow Forecast Gold Standard Road to 10,000 followers starts with you, my beautiful audience, and this is our first look at a developing strong early spring winter storm. And not for you to be confused, I go by meteorological winter. The coldest 3 months of the year in the northern hemisphere is a December, January, February. Like spring is March, April, May, summer, June, July, August, and September, October, and November to end out with the fall. We're going to have a developing strong sub 980 millibar low pressure, which is now digging into the Rockies on Tuesday. And Tuesday night and Wednesday, it's going to dig down into North Texas and the panhandle of Oklahoma. And by 1 in the afternoon on Wednesday or Thursday, we're going to have a low pressure that's sitting somewhere right here in north central Texas and Oklahoma border. And it's going to start to track northeast Thursday afternoon and Thursday night. And by 1 p.m. in the morning or 1 p.m. in the afternoon on Friday, the low pressure is going to be turning out of or near St. Louis, Missouri into central Illinois, probably right here in near or to the south of Bloomington, Illinois, and then tracking into central and northern Indiana. And that's where the question mark takes place on our first impact weather map we put out, which I'm going to start to do. It's an early on impact weather map with enough data. Is there's going to be a high pressure sitting in here initially on Wednesday and Thursday, but as this storm, and here's my first impressions and what I'm noting and my first concerns if you're in southeastern or eastern Michigan, is this area of high pressure that's going to be sitting in here. You're going to notice it. This is 1 p.m. surface map on Friday, but if you were to go back to 1 p.m. Thursday, this center of the high that's right here with the darkest orange colors is sitting here. And it's going to pinwheel its way to the east and off to the north, right? Sort of like that, as this storm is coming out of Texas and attacking it from the southwest. And then at the same time, we're going to notice heights that were, see the heights that look like right here? These heights a day earlier look like that here, but then heights start to fall here as a weak disturbance works its way through and swing in here, and we got heights falling and not as high here as the high pressure is bleeding out, which could allow this storm to cut more to the northwest. And if it does that, instead of it tracking off through central Ohio like that, it could cut up through lower Michigan and Detroit, thus bringing the heaviest snow back into this area. And then you get a brief front-end snow in this area, and then you get a wintry mix and then even rain as the warm front moves through. That's still all be too determined because we're still too far out. The devils are in the details, but I have a track you can see on my first area that I have with circles. This area low pressure is going to track somewhere in this area. That's where it's going to track. Now, if it tracks on the northern spot through lower Michigan, Detroit, Metro Detroit, wouldn't see very much snow, a little bit on the front end, but then mostly a mix to rain. If it tracks further towards the center and southern part of this potential, then you would have significant snow, because there will be significant snow. As you can see with my forecast, my first map, 2:28, 9:26 a.m. surface low track and locations to clarify this. The red circle where it says 3:27 p.m. In northeast and central Texas, that's where I expect the surface low to be at 3:2 within that red circle. Then you notice 3:3 at 1 a.m. I expect the low pressure to be somewhere within that circle. And then by 3:3, 1 p.m., I expect it to be somewhere within that circle, right? There's a big variance, and the circle gets greater as the time goes on, because it makes a huge difference in Detroit. If that area of low pressure on Friday afternoon and evening is on the northern end of that and is somewhere in lower Michigan, that 3 inches of snow, if you got it, would be at the very beginning, and then it would all be melted as the storm moves on and changes the rain. Versus if that area of low pressure is on the southern end of the circle, you would be having very heavy snow in Metro Detroit for all or most of the storm and have significant accumulations. But at the current moment, the 3 inches or more is possible in lower Michigan. And then right at the border, a quick burst of snow changing the rain most likely, and a heavy rain event in that green area. And then the heaviest snow potential of 6 inches or more, northwestern Illinois, eastern Iowa and southeastern Iowa, southeastern Wisconsin, central and northern lower Michigan, and north of Metro Detroit appear to be the best areas and chances of the heaviest snow as of right now. But that's just our first impact map on potential impacts on the storm. It's still 3.5 to 4 days out. So I just wanted to give you a rough estimate. This is not an official forecast. It's just the first look at potential impacts on the storm, and the devils will be in the details, as this will start to shuffle and gives me a framework and a baseline to start giving you the best, free, most accurate information in an easy to follow manner to see how this forecast evolves, and then the actual storm, how it takes place. But this is giving me some framework to work by. And you can see what I'm talking about here. See that high pressure at 7 p.m. on Thursday? Notice it up there just south of the James Bay where the finger looks like it's pointing. 1020 high pressure in dark orange. Now look at it by 1 a.m. Notice it start to pivot off to the east as the storm attacks it from the southwest, as you have a 989 developing low right at the Arkansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Missouri border. And then by 7 a.m. you see that high pressure continuing to pinwheel off to the east, and that low pressure continuing to move to the northeast and attack it. And then you look at the heights rising off to the north. See the heights, and look at North Dakota and South Dakota. Notice how high the heights were with the high pressure, but as it moves, the heights start to lower and the greens start to move in. When you get the greens, that's lower heights, and when you get the oranges and red looking colors, that's higher heights. And then by 1 p.m. you see that high pressure is now well displaced to the east of the James Bay. You have some weak low pressure at the Canadian border by North Dakota. And then you have a big area where the model's trying to figure out where the low pressure is going to be. And then you continue by 7 p.m. seeing the high pressure start to swing back to the north now. See where it started? See how it starts and goes east and then starts to retreat back to the north and then eventually the northwest as this storm does eventually go underneath it. But that's the key, where that high pressure is, to see exactly where the storm goes. And then about 150 miles to the north and to the northwest of the surface low will be the heaviest snow. And that's why a storm track right over Toledo or a little bit north does not favor the heaviest snow track in Metro Detroit. But it's definitely something I'm going to watch. The details in the track is not set, but we have a range now of roughly 200 miles where we feel pretty good where the surface low, based on this red circle, where it's probably going to go. And we're going to iron in on the details over the next 24 to 48 hours to really get an idea where the heaviest snow and heaviest snow potential on this system. Like, subscribe, and share. This is our first video weather briefing. Peace and love.